So I managed to press out number 2 bushing from the frame for the front lower control arm. Pretty rusted in. And now I've got a 2-inch wire brush on my 3/4 inch Makita. Powerful. This 2-inch brush is a little large for going in here, so it's pretty tight. Not the only thing I'm going to get in here. I just want to get some of that rust out of there. I'm going to coat it with grease, help the new bushing go in and also reduce rust in the future. So this is just some marine grease I have. I'd like to get some really thick grease, marine grease, real heavy stuff. Rust inhibitor, the whole 9 yards. So I use a lot of grease putting these things together. So that should be pretty good. So, new bushing. And I'm just gonna take this off for now. That one's on there pretty good. Probably press it on with that, but I don't want to damage it. And I don't know if it matters, but we've got these marks where that fits in. So I put these to the outside here, right parallel. And do it just like that. And then a little grease, again for anti-rust. So I don't want this is for the ring. These are rather spacer, just more rust inhibitor. That's all I'm doing there. Rust inhibitor inside here. Not on the ends though. That's a static pressure hold there. In fact, it's important when assembling all this, I don't torque anything. I have to wait until I get the wheels on and put it on the ground and get the height set. Then I come around, I torque all the bushings, the shock, get everything torqued up. So I mark everything with a paint that's been torqued, so if it's no paint, I know I haven't torqued it. So now, using a standard universal ball joint, U-joint press kit, get at the parts store, and using, I'm not sure what size that cup is, a small cup. That's gonna fit right very nicely right there. That'll be my press. And then I don't really need much of a receiver on the other end. I could just about use anything, but I'm going to use the standard cup. I think that's a 2 7/16. And then just a backing plate for it, whatever one fits best. I'll use my 9mm bolt, which does fit through there. I got to get the length on that figured out. The bushing will go fairly far in there to start. As you can see, it comes right up flush there, and it's only about 3/4 of an inch there, so we don't have to press very far. It was just so rusted in, we had to press out a very long ways. Grease up my tool, reduce friction, including the threads. This way. Grease on my washers. Oops. Put my press on there first. Washers and nut. So I want to center everything best I can. I want to make sure this is pretty square on there. Straightest pull I can, very square, makes it pull easier. Less chance of binding or damaging that lip. And just press it right on in there. This is the easy part. It's just pulling right in there. Right, make sure I got my washer on there, or I call it spacer. It's nice and tight. See no daylight, my grease squished out, she's in. I did pressing out in another video. That took some time. It was pretty frozen there. So I'll put on this hard rubber piece. I didn't get it quite as straight as I would have liked. Turned a little bit. 5 degrees off zero, I'd say. Again, I don't know how much that matters. The orientation of that. Should have been a little more careful on that. You know, as I look through there, where those slits are, that is a break in the rubber right through there. You can see all the way through. Just a small one, about the width of that. Huh. I don't know if you could see that. What's next? Lower control arm. So on the lower control arm, I want to make sure to put that bolt in for the torsion bar, that small back one, first. You can get it in after, it's just hard to do it that way. So I just went over to my bench and did some de-rusting. So this long one is the other torsion bar. Short one's the shock. And then two the same size. Those are the more control arm through the bushing. So I get these ready. And I'm gonna grease. I like to grease everything up, especially when it's rusty. I just got to make sure that those specific surfaces that are compression fittings, static fits, I don't get grease on them. So I'm gonna run some grease through this bushing on the inside. That was a bit rusty. And I've already got that one done. I'm gonna grease up my bolt shafts around those washers, help make a water seal. And I gotta watch it on the threads, but I do need some that was rusty. I wanna, especially out there, when you lube threads, you have to reduce your torque by 20%. So I'm probably not going to reduce. So I'm getting it more. Shock bolt, that's a smaller bolt. I just did it around the washer. It's not looking too bad. Yeah. Just gonna try and muscle it up here. I might go ahead and hook up that shock. Be something to pivot off of. Again, I'm not going to torque these. I'm just going to snug them down because those bushings where they press in the metal part, you want that in the neutral position as the vehicle sits on the ground. I always fear not torquing a bolt when I put it in, that I'll forget it's that system of marking bolts. Well, then I just have to look and I'll know. No mark, I gotta torque it. I'm just using a yellow paint right now, whatever I can get. I like to back that torsion bar away from that nut there. I'm just going to stick a pry bar in there to hold that nut when I torque it down. Keep it from spinning. This one wasn't as rusty. Put a little bit on that guy. So I just got those good and snug. Let me get my torsion bar adjuster in. I may have to crack those loose a little bit. I might have them a little too tight. Just before I torque it down. For now it's fine though. Go back, get that torsion adjuster bolt in. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this or not. So I marked that earlier with a little yellow paint, so I know if I were to take it back, get it back to where it was. I like to get this centered in there halfway decent. So, coming up on my yellow mark. Well, I've got quite a bit of ways to go here. That air wrench is only good for 65 pounds, and it was already starting to load up. Of course, like I said, I turned off the compressor so you guys wouldn't have to hear it. It might be a little low on PSI for that air tool too. Getting close. There we go. Right to the yellow mark. So that's how I indexed it. Or rather marked where it was. If you run out of threads, you got to pull it out, return it, re-index it. So, control arm, diff seal, put in the front diffs, and then see if I can get both knuckles, or rather the front drive shaft, and then see if I can get both knuckles on today. I have to pack the needle bearing, axle needle bearing and bushing, and put a new seal. Finish up reconditioning the knuckles. And then tomorrow, wheel bearings, new brake rotors, wheel bearings, and brake pads. Alrighty, I think that's enough for this video.